Happenings is an art form that emerged in the 1950s and 1960s. Happenings usually involve spontaneous actions or theatrical actions that involve the direct participation of the audience. Events often do not have a clear plot and combine elements such as a theater, music, dance, and installations. The purpose of the event is to stimulate emotional response and critical reflection from the audience. Often these happenings involve very absurd training, physical exercise, clothing, spontaneous nudity, and various random and seemingly disconnected actions. Famous creators of spontaneous happenings, often multimedia art events or performance, include Alan Capro, Claes Oldenburg, and Jim Dane. These artists, associated with the Fluxus movement of the 1960s, sought to break down the boundaries between art and life by creating immersive, participatory experience for the audience. Their work was to revolutionize the art world and pave the way for later performance and installation art. However, there are some important points about the happenings. Among them is the nature of participation. Events emphasize active participation from both artists and audience. Rather than being passive spectators, audience members are encouraged to engage with the event, sometimes even becoming performers themselves. While the second is the multidisciplinary approach. The event combines various art forms such as music, theater, visual arts, dance, and poetry. They are often multimedia experiences that combine different elements to create an overall environment. The last one is emphasis on experience. The main focus of the event is on the experience itself rather than the final products. Artists aim to create immersive environments that stimulate the sense, evoke emotions, and provoke thought. Now we are going to Fluxus. Fluxus is an international art movement that emerged in the 1960s. This Fluxus was named and loosely organized in the 1962 by George Masonius, 1931 to 78, a Lithuanian-born American artist. This movement emphasizes a more inclusive and collaborative concept of art, as well as exploring the boundaries between art and everyday life. Fluxus' work is often conceptual, simple, and uses common, unconventional materials. The movement sought to engage audience directly, encourage active participation, and reject traditional hierarchies in the arts. Fluxus has close ties to the experimental composition class run by John Cage from 1957 to 1959 at the New School for Social Research in New York City. This Cage class emphasizes an experimental approach to art, combining elements such as sound, movement, object, and interaction in works of art. There were many Fluxus artists involved in this class, including Alan Capro, George Branch, and Nam June Paik, who later contributed to the development of the Fluxus movement. John Cage himself, with his innovative approach to music and art, provided a strong inspiration for Fluxus artists. Thus encouraged a do-it-yourself approach to aesthetic, prioritizing simplicity over complexity. The movement offered a strong reaction against the commercialization of art and reject the traditional view of art as merchandise. Fluxus was anti-commercialism, which opposed commercial orientation in art and advocated anti-art values. They criticized the conventional art market and advocated artist-centered creative practice, prioritizing creative exploration and experience over commercial gain. In addition, Fluxus also emphasized collaboration and participation. Fluxus encouraged collaboration and participation in the process of creating artwork. Fluxus artists often collaborate with their colleagues as well as involve the audience in some of their works. This reflects an inclusive and participatory approach to art. Not only that, Fluxus also focuses more on the process. More than the end result, Fluxus emphasizes the importance of creative process itself. They highlight direct experience and spontaneity in the creation of works of art, gaining meaning through interaction with the world. Fluxus reflect the spirit of experimentation and courage in art, as well as the desire to embrace everyday life in the practice of art. This movement made a significant contribution to the development of contemporary art and the recognition of art in a wider context. Conceptual art is a form of artistic expression that prioritizes ideas and concepts over traditional aesthetic qualities. It emerged in the 1960s as a response to the emphasis on material objects in art. In conceptual art, the focus is on basic concepts or ideas which can be conveyed through various mediums such as installation, performance, photograph, or written statements. The physical manifestation of an artwork often takes a secondary role, serving as a vehicle to convey a concept or spark an intellectual engagement with the viewer. This emphasis on ideas and concepts rather than aesthetic has challenged traditional notion of what art is. Conceptual art became an important development in contemporary art in the late 1960s. This movement presents an influential critique of the status quo and shows a significant shift from the paradigm of modernist art. This conceptual focus more on the concept. Conceptual art places in main emphasis on an idea or concept in a work of art from an aesthetic or material aspect. Thus, ideas and concepts are the most important elements in creating and understanding works of art.